Then I was like, obviously she's beautiful and sexy, but I was like, but that's not the thing.
That's so sweet.
It's amazing to think that.
Yeah. Thanks, baby.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for the notifications of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you ain't got them minerals. Oh! You ain't ready for all of this, baby. Hey, make sure you grab your merchandise down below. Don't forget, hey, listen, go down now, click on the merchandise, grab yourself a minerals tee or a hoodie or one of the cushions, baby. You're about to be part of the gang, baby. Mineral up, baby. Mineral up. You understand? Boom. Let's talk about it. Too hot to handle, baby. It's all juicy now, baby. All right, cool. We're going to talk about the non-verbal with David and Rhonda. What I love about this is that Rhonda wasn't using David to get at my man, to get at old boy Sharon. No. This was a genuine meeting and connection. And actually, it's a bit of a shame that David and Rhonda didn't go forward. But I always knew that she, black love was always going to win. Do you understand? Because she likes our black men. That's just simple as it is. But what we saw was a great connection and a good alluding to in terms of what healthiness, in terms of connecting, can look like. All right, cool. So the first one we see is that when Rhonda and David have to do the hugging exercise to show excitement, right? Like every girl did it, right? They showed excitement. They actually held on for much, much longer, right? And this was all about intimacy on a physical level, which didn't drift into sex. Yeah. So when they held each other, their bodies attached and aligned. And actually, remember her love language is what? Physical touch. So when he held her, yeah, look, she's going to use this later on in the date. She said, give me one of those big old strong hugs that you give.
Give me one of those strong man hugs.
Hugs make things hard.
Because what he was doing was speaking a love language. And at that point, what he did, he gave her a hug, and it wasn't sexual. It was a genuine hug. Not like when she hugged Sharon and then his penis is erecting. No, this was a hug where somebody genuinely can sense you and wants you. You understand? And not just your body. My butt, no.
Yeah. Thanks, baby.
And then at the end of the exercise, we see David actually cry blood. My man was crying blood. And, he said, obviously, he said the words that she's caring, affectionate, warm. I said, why? Power play them, David. Moving with the deftest touch there, right, fam? And what he showed was something that Sharon wasn't showing, which is the emotional side of him. Not just being a man. Being a man is not just being closed book and no one can talk to me and I never cried. It's not about them things, Being a man is able to be vulnerable but also strong. And knowing that your vulnerability isn't necessarily your weakness, it's a part of your strength. You're able to be transparent and able to be honest because you know where your source of power lies. You understand? So when David also began to cry there and began to be emotional towards her, this is what she'd been missing with Sharon. So it endeared her towards him, yeah? And and Rhonda even appreciated that coming from him, yeah? And then, as she's talking to him, she even has this nervous lip biting moment where she smiles and then she lip bites. And she's appreciating it and she's liking it and she's even attracted to him. She's got something, there's something about him, right? That's why she allowed him to touch her ass in the beginning. Like, let's be honest. That's why she allowed him to put the cream on his bum, right? He's her type, right? As well, because she mentioned it in the beginning when they first came in. So, and she said obviously she likes both of them. Let me be very honest. You don't like both of them. You're attracted to both of them. There's a difference. You can be attracted to 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 different gal. Doesn't mean you both like them. No. You always like Sharon more. What it was is the fact that David is showing you things that Sharon could not do, so it makes you think you like David. Now, obviously, blood, yeah. I mean, you can be attracted to both people and you can have a strong attraction towards them. And then you begin to build intimacy. When you begin to build intimacy with one of them, yeah, it becomes very hard to build intimacy with the second person too. Right? And this is what people need to understand. When people are playing the game, emotional and mental intimacy, yeah, cannot be cheated. Sexual can, physical can. You understand? But your mental and your emotional intimacy cannot be faked because it requires time, energy, focus. You understand? It requires conversations of a magnitude where it's not just 5 minutes and surface talk. It requires you to delve deep dive into ambitions, goals, your life, life thoughts, what you've wanted in life, what you're pursuing in life, what you're studying, all that stuff. It plays into it. What's your emotions? You understand? You can't fake those. You understand? Eventually, it'll catch up with you. And then obviously Sharon said obviously that during that process his eyes were opened. He understood now that, okay, look, he actually liked Rhonda. And it took for that moment where he saw David and her hugging and being very, very intimate and close to make him realize actually he likes Rhonda more than he thought. Or does that sound a bit familiar, like when guys in the outside world, when they realize their ex has gone and now they want the ex back, all of a sudden, because what? Because you want to have control over it. Basically what he said is that I want to have you when I want to have you. I don't want anyone else to have you. Bro, you can't do that. Life must move on. The world doesn't revolve around you. And then obviously later on they have a date as well, David and Rhonda. And I think the date is very interesting because what I saw in Rhonda's body language was an elegance. So there wasn't the sexualness. Maybe it was what she was wearing as well. There wasn't the sexual desire that I saw in her eyes that I saw in the early days with Sharon and her. But rather now it's been replaced by this kind of cool, cheeky, fun, a little bit naughty kind of look where it's like I'm trying to really be fascinated and intrigued by you rather than actually be sexualized by you and to you. Do you understand?
Because some guys, I feel like they see me, but they see sexual. It just made me feel like you were listening, and that you're understanding, and that you cared.
And so you see David said even himself that he stopped viewing her from the body. Like, he started seeing her for her. And then she said, oh, I really, really appreciate that. You know what? Like, it's good to hear that a man is appreciating me for that, because I feel like people always only want me sexually. You understand? And what she's talking about here, every man desires, it seems like every man I've come across has desired me sexually. They've wanted me sexually. They haven't really wanted my mind, nor my emotions. And then obviously you see that, again, there's a lot of intense staring between the two of them, between each talk. You know, at one point it looks like almost they're going to cry, but there's a lot of interchange of looks that say a lot in terms of, you know, their mutual intrigue and fascination towards each other. And, you know, that because of that, you see that the glare is different. It's not a sexual one. It's just a nice kind of, I want to get to know you more deeper. Like, who are you to me? Like, where did you come from kind of look? Like, I'm just fascinated by you. And I'm embroiled by you. I'm ready to just find out more about you. Do you understand?
It's really hard because Sharon is my boy. From like the first day I fancied you, that initial attraction has developed.
And then, you know, David was saying that, alluding to the point that, you know, he felt bad because obviously, you know, Sharon was his boy. And I appreciate that. I get it. But I'm sorry, but we're on an island, bro. And if Sharon's going to move mad and not claim this babe, but want to say that, listen, she can move on with anybody else and it's not a problem. But obviously, when she's moving on with David, you're having a big problem. Now, I get it. You know our boys. But you knew that he liked her before. He told you this before. So you knew what you were doing was trifling in the first place. You went after Rhonda when you know that David liked Rhonda. Do you understand? So, you know, you couldn't be complaining now that he's doing that. But he decides to do it anyway. And, you know, Rhonda makes a great point. Nobody's got a ring on me.
But no one's got a ring on anyone's finger. No one's entitled to anyone.
Nobody's got a ring on me. And if nobody's got a ring on me, you'll put a single ladies, all my single ladies, all my single ladies, all my single ladies. That's what she is until you put a ring on it. Do you understand? So he can't dictate from the shadows to say David should not be with her. Even though he was throwing tantrums and doing silent treatment and all this kind of stuff towards it. You know, basically thinking that David stole his girl. He didn't steal his girl. You made sure the girl wasn't trying to be with you anymore. You didn't want it anymore. Do you understand? And then obviously towards the end, you see that obviously Rhonda asks for a hug from David. And actually what happened is just simply that, you know what? She said, give me one of those big old strong hugs again. Like I said, physical touch. Again, alluding to physical touch. She wants the physical touch. She wants to be feeling like someone caresses her, and not just caresses her to enter her garden, but actually because it's a physical intimacy. Do you understand? So yeah, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I mean, what do you think? What's your thoughts? Remember, think before you do. Don't do before you think. As you're thinking about what you got to do. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. More love, and we will talk soon. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. I love it, mate. I love it. Catch you.